Good morning and welcome to Step by Step Listening's page, What's Working Wednesday today. And I'm Cheryl Andrews. Those who don't know me, I'm the founder of Step by Step Listening. And we're an organisation, no, actually, I'm not a we, it's me, but I do have subcontracted people that work with me. So I am committed to helping people do more of what they love and ditch the critic that says they can't. And how I do that is training people to listen to themselves and other people without judgment. And in order to do that, I share stories, I share inspirational things about why the brain is like it is and why we learn the way we do, and why that makes listening quite challenging for most of us as human beings, because we're often juggling what it is that's going on in our head, our needs and wants, with that of the other. So today I want to talk about the importance of write it down, read it and update it. Those of you who don't know, I'm the author of Manage Your Critic, From Overwhelm to Clarity in 7 Steps. And I was just reading my own book this morning in my Miracle Morning, focusing on some reading. And I was just checking in, and I actually, whilst I've said it and I know it, I hadn't realised when I wrote the book, because the book does force me to, when a book writing process forces me to narrow my thoughts down and to make them concise and not to repeat things. And what I did put in the book that I'd admitted to use recently is that what kind of critics do we have? And generally we have a critic that will be the one that's protecting us. So the critic's going, oh, you don't want to do that, you might get hurt, or don't want to do that, you did that last time you did that, it cost you, loads of money. Last time you did that, someone was horrible to you. And then you've got the critic that's checking about other people. So those of you who haven't read the book, there's a chapter all about the reptilian brain, and I'm just going to quickly find it, and it's on page 41. And I talk about the clarity brain. And basically the reptilian brain, there's a part of your brain here, and it's really designed to actually protect you if it thinks at any time you're not going to have enough money to feed yourself, you're not going to keep a roof over your head. So if your basic human needs, so warmth, food, water, are going to be in danger, then it will start going, oh, you haven't done this. So if you're in the middle of a training session, for example, and the trainer doesn't tell you when the coffee break is, and you haven't got any food, and you haven't got anything to drink, instead of listening to the trainer, your reptilian brain would go, oh, we need to do this. And so it's just being aware of that. And when you write something down and you read it, you have the chance to update the story. So if your reptilian is going, oh, you haven't got this, you haven't got that, you can choose to tell a different story to settle that part of your brain. Because if you don't, then what happens is all the blood from your neocortex brain, your thinking brain, your clarity brain, goes straight to the reptilian brain. Then what happens is all the blood rushes out to your fingers and your feet, so that you can fight, flight or freeze. And either you might be like me, have verbal diarrhea, it goes blah, 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 and loads of stuff comes out. You might type loads, but it doesn't really make much sense. You might just walk away from conversations. You might end up in arguments or conflict. But it will be due to the fact that your reptilian brain thinks you're in danger. And the sad news is it can be operating on data that was relevant to you when you're like 2 or 3 years old, and now at 50, it really isn't the same problem. So writing down your thoughts and taking time to read them can mean that you can update them. The other part of the brain is the mammalian brain, which is the bit about, we're in as human beings, we're pack mentality. We're meant to be part of a group. And so we will be checking what are the rules around here. And we'll be checking what's going on with other people. How do I need to behave in order not to be attacked? And so we'll be looking to, some people will work along that and absolutely conform. And other people will rebel and want to be completely different to that. But ultimately, when we do either or, we'd end up losing sometimes a sense of our identity. So those who rebel and go, I don't care what anybody else thinks, I'm just going to be there, they lose that connection of being part of a pack and a collaboration and a team. And those that are very conformist, that are always doing what everybody else, they lose a sense of their identity, their worth. And so we, as human beings, we need both. We need to protect ourselves, we need to know that we matter, and we need to be part of a collaboration, a group, an organisation where we feel of value, that we matter, and we understand the rules of what we do. And and the trouble is, what happens is we then create loads of rules to live by to feel safe, but that stops us from growing. It stops us from being able to expand and change things, change the company, change the policies, change the rules. So actually, to work collectively together, we have to write things down so that we have an agreed. So when you write an agreement with your business partners, or even when you do your vows and you get married, you write down, then you can both see what you're agreeing to. You can read it, and you can read it out loud, and you'll hear and see it from another perspective, and it will need to be updated. So the reason I did that, what triggered that thought today, is I got given, and I'd like to thank Rachel, this book probably about 6 years ago, and it says, I'm going to change the world and this is my plan. And I wrote down in the book, and one thing I hadn't done then, which I'm learning to do now, is I forgot, and I want to say this to you, if you write anything down, date it, because sometimes we forget how long we've known stuff, and maybe that we've known these lessons and we haven't been learning, haven't doing with it. But I put here, which is interesting, I want 1 million turnover. That actually has changed drastically, because I realised that that was a goal that I thought I needed to do to fit in, to be successful. But actually, what Mark and I require is for me to earn about 100,000 for the next 5 years, and then we can both retire at 55. I wouldn't retire because I love what I do, but I'd have the choice not to work if I didn't want to. So actually the goal that I was setting there wasn't relevant, so now that's been updated. My vision is to raise aspirations of whole communities. I really truly believe that a whole community, a whole town can be impacted if we change the way that we listen to each other, both at work, at home, and in school and the education system. If we could all learn about how the brain works. Sorry, I've got a road sweeper coming around. I'm just going to shut the window so that you are not, you probably couldn't hear it. But actually, that if we change the way we listen and we start educating people about the brain and how it works, and we get some communication structures in place, that is how we can start to raise the aspirations of community. So I often get very bogged down in the detail. Monday's video is all about focus. And it's important that if you write down your vision, your plan, or whatever it is, and then the next thing is you have to read it, but also update it, because I can often get caught up in the plan of today and forget that it's actually about changing the community. So if I only look after myself and I don't share it with other people, then raising the aspirations of whole communities isn't possible. And that is my vision. That's what I want. I want, it's not just about helping one person to turn their dreams into reality. It's about helping that person turn their dreams into reality, and then giving them the tools to share that with other people on how they did that, so that more people can turn their dreams into reality. Because I can't work with every single person, but if I can teach people what I'm doing as I do it, then they can go and do it with other people, and more people can live the life they want to live. The other thing I found interesting, my mission is to empower and enable every adult to facilitate effective and productive discussions. And I've updated that today to say to empower and enable individuals to facilitate effective and productive discussions or conversations, and to know they matter and have value to add. So by going back over that, but I have been saying to people that my mission is to change the way the world listens. But that's what I'm going to do. It's not why. I want to change the way that we listen to ourselves and each other, because I want the individual to have a voice. I want the individual to feel safe in one-to-one discussions or group discussions, whether that group discussions in their family, whether that group discussions in work, whether it's socially, in the pub, going out to parties, wherever it is, that group environment, that they feel equally confident to be on their own and listen to their own conversation in their own head, and to be able to facilitate those thoughts as they are in a group environment, so they can be adding value and doing things. And the way that I know that works is that if we have overwhelm and we've got lots going on in our head, one of the best things to do is write it down, because one, if you write it down, you can share it with somebody else. Two, you can read it. So when you write it, you're using your kinesthetic part, you're feeling it. So from a sensory point of view, you write it, or if you type it, then you're going to use your visual because you can see it. And if you then read it out loud or got someone else to read it out loud, then you auditory hear. And something to bear in mind is that when we talk to ourselves, sometimes we don't actually hear what we're saying. There's a part of the brain that switches off to save energy. So we don't always, a good example, you probably had a time when you said something, someone's asked you a question, you've gone, well, what you need to do, blah, 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 and they've gone, oh wait, slow down, what did you just say? And you go, I don't know. Because you're just talking from your subconscious mind, you're just allowing it to flow, but your own hearing system isn't hearing everything you're saying, and it's just coming out. That's the great thing about technology now. We can record it, we can listen back to it. So if you write something down and you read it out loud, you then got your kinesthetic part of your brain being worked, you've got your visual part, and then you've got your auditory. And one of the things with the questioning technique that I use, clean language, is if you then get to it to look at, ask, so that's like what, you can start to engage your imagination in senses. So it might be smell or taste, it might be an emotion or a feeling. And when we do that, that is when the whole of our system connects with the thing that we want. So I talked only about focus. If you haven't seen that video already, go back and have a look at that. But thank you very much for David Dempsey. I think I got your name right, I'll just check. Because he put a very nice, David Dempsey, he put about Karate Kid, and it says your focus needs more focus. And one of the things I've discovered is that focus works, which was I'll talk about Monday, as long as you've got clarity of how it's connected to everything. And it's like, everything is connected to everything. But when we're focusing on something, we're only putting the other stuff into sort of a blurred vision. It's not completely shut out, it's still there. So today is a good example. I'm focusing on, I have 3 things to do today. This was this motivational video. I have the webinar for our writing challenge group at 1 o'clock today. So my attention is on being a confident and capable presenter. My focus is on preparation for that. It's updating the slides that we used last year, updating with the new knowledge I've got in the last 12 months, things that I can share with people that will inspire them to get out of their way and get their books written. And then this afternoon, my mother-in-law is staying with me. And I want to be the best daughter-in-law I can be. So I want to be out, and we're going to shopping, we're doing some girly time. So those are 3 things that have got my attention today. Yesterday, my attention was on health and well-being. So I did my boot camp. And the day before that was on income generation. But that doesn't mean when I'm doing income generation, I don't do any exercise and I don't look after myself and eat well. It doesn't mean that yesterday when I was doing health and wellbeing, I didn't do any work, because I did have some conversations, and I did do some income generating conversations yesterday, and I did some income generating conversations online as well. And today, even though I'm focusing on being the best presenter and doing motivational talk and being present as a family member, it doesn't mean that my other goals, which is one of them is just tidying my office up, and to follow up on the income generating calls I had yesterday, they will still happen. It's just for today, for a moment, I'm just giving the other things more focus. And why I want to talk about this writing down bit is that people often don't do planning because they think it's a waste of time. But when you invest time in planning, you'll either post-it note it, you might then get it into a spreadsheet, and then you might get a list of tasks you put on a CRM system or a management system, whatever, something that reminds you what you've got to do when you've got to do it. And that completely writing it down, reading it and seeing it means it's actually doing a learning process. So it's embedding it in the subconscious mind so that you don't have to give it all of your attention, because intuitively you will already know how to do that. But if you're developing a new muscle or a new skill, like eating healthily, you might have to have more visual reminders so that you don't forget that that's the important thing as well. That just because, Monday, I was so focused on income generating, I forgot that we'd been on holiday and hadn't done my food shopping, so I didn't have any food in the house. But as soon as I got hungry, I still knew I wanted to eat healthy. I wasn't going to sabotage that, so we ate what was in the house. So you don't lose sight of it when you plan. So I've put down write, read and update it, and I'm going to actually change the title in a minute to it's important to plan. So write down your plan, read it and update it. But also I want to say about sharing it. So I'd love to know what your plans are. What is your vision for your life? If you were to think about, sitting yourself in your 80 years old, where would you be? Who'd be around you? What would you see and hear around you that will tell you about the kind of life you've had? What would be the evidence? Where would you be geographically, location? What would you be experiencing? If you're telling stories about your life, what kind of stories would they be? Would it be about how everything went really well, how you got over adversity, or would it be about everything that went wrong in your life? And if you're telling that story right now and it's not the one you want to tell, then the first thing to do is to write about, share about, talk to people about how you'd really like it to be. And if you haven't got someone that can really, really listen to you and really believe in you and hold you accountable to your own dreams until they become a reality, then please get in touch with me. All right, please join us in the Manager Critic community group if you haven't already done so. But But I do have slots for free clarity sessions each month. I've got a couple actually running next week. So I've got a couple of spaces left for next week. So if you want to talk to me, if you've got that burning dream, you know that things cannot keep going where they are, whether you want to write a book, whether you want to grow your business, or you simply want to be the best working mum you can be, or the best working dad you can be, if something just isn't feeling right and you've been trying loads of stuff and you can't work out why it's not working, then having someone to listen to you, to pull out those words and get you to write them down so you get clarity of what it is you want, then you'll have something you can read, that you can remind yourself, that you can start to make that your mantra. That can be the thing that you're working towards, and you don't forget that's what you want. And then you can have someone that'll help you to update it. So when you start to, maybe you'll just go for a small goal to start with, and when you achieve that, you go, actually, I can do more. And others of you like to do really big goals, and you have to just work out what the first next best step is. So I hope that's been useful. Let me know what your experiences are. Some people really resist writing things down. Other people really resist reading, going back over stuff. Other people don't like updating, they don't like change, they like it to be fixed. But the reality is, if once we write it down and once we read it, new information comes in. And so therefore we have to have that ability to stay focused, but with a flexible approach. Because actually, if we become really rigid and we really plan and we over plan and we get ourselves in little tight boxes, we don't have space for wonderful new things to emerge. We don't notice the wonderful opportunities that are out there that actually could get us where we want to be much quicker, because we thought it was 100 steps and we've taken those steps one step at a time and we're really chunking along, with head down, we're so focused, we're not listening to any feedback. No, nobody else knows us as better as we do, and we're just da-da-da. And then we actually do take 100 steps to get there, whereas actually somebody says, by the way, I've got a bus and I'm quite happy to do that bit for you, and it will take you 70 steps ahead. So here it is. Here's a little bit of information that will help you jump 70 steps. So when we get really focused on the plan, we can become very regimental and we have our blinkers on and we don't hear whatever people have got to say. And likewise, if you have a plan, you know where you want to go, but you're listening to loads and loads of people, you can keep on meandering down the country lanes and you end up picking up like nice flowers and seeing lovely wildlife, and it's really great, but you never get to where you want to be. And so it's a balance between, you know, how are you going to enjoy this journey? Who are you going to listen to? When are you going to listen to them? And how can you check whether that's going to take you to where you want to be? And learning how to listen to yourself, learning how to hear what you've got to say. Writing it is one way. Having a coach that reflects your words back to you is another way. And paying, you know, chat with the purpose of actually really listening to what you're saying. Pay attention to what you're telling other people. Are you telling people you've got no time, it's all really tough? Or are you telling people and yourself that you are going to make this happen? So I would love to know, what are your dreams? What is your hopes and aspirations? If the rest of 2018 could be just the way you'd like it to be, it'd be like what? And if you're struggling to turn that dream into a reality, please, please join the community or get in touch with me. I'd love to speak. Have a fantastic week. Speak to you all soon.